I was looking at the screen. Do you see anybody watching?
I can't tell.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how to use help.
It'll say viewers or.
Roll me my yoga ball. Oh, I see. Z's are watching.
Yeah.
Your top of your head's cut off. Or what happens if you move back?
Good.
Do you have the volume off of everything?
Mm-hmm. Okay, guys. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream, live stream, the very first official live stream for the Blind Spot. No one is in here yet, and that's fine, but for people watching this in the future, I'm going to go ahead and get started. This stream is all about the Cyber Eyez wearable assistive technology device that was just launched in June. And I made a video about it about a week ago, and I had a lot of people asking questions about it. So I decided to put on this live stream to answer those questions. So if anybody has any questions, if anybody comes in and wants to ask questions, just leave them in the chat.
Chatty Shelby said hi, and Judy Lehman said hi.
Hello, everybody. Chatty
Shelby.
Chatty Shelby and Judy. Thank you very much for joining here. We are going to get started. The first thing I'm going to talk about, I'm going to give a little backstory about, actually, you guys that are in here already, how do I sound? Do I sound all right? Do I look all right? This is my first live stream. I don't know basically anything. I don't know what I'm doing at all. So let me know if there's anything that I need to do to make it better for you guys. I muted the volume on my end because we did a test and that was giving horrible feedback. So that we have done. But just let me know as we go along if there's anything I can do to make it better. Or if you can't hear me, just let me know. I'll talk louder. Unfortunately, like I said, is my first live stream. I don't have a good camera, so I apologize about the quality. I'm just using a laptop camera, webcam. If this is something that I'm going to do more of in the future, I'll definitely try and get something better and get a better setup.
And they said it sounds good.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. All right, so let's get into Cyber Eyez. If you haven't watched the video, I put a video out, like I said, about a week ago, and that consisted of a bunch of video that I took at a demo I was very fortunate to go to, and it was a lot of footage. There was a lot of video. There was way too much. We were there for like 2 hours, and so there was way too much to put into one video. So I cut it down as best I could, cut out as much of the unimportant stuff as I could, and it was still a pretty long video. I'm sorry about that. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about that stuff that I cut out here today, and also, like I said, answer questions. So one bit that I had to cut out was the backstory of how Cyber Eyez came to be. And it's kind of an interesting story. So the developer, Sean Tibbetts, who was there doing the demo, he's in the video. He was actually a couple years ago, I think about 2 years ago, he was at an event, and just so happened that my boss, Teresa, was there as well. And I don't know if they were friends before the event or if they just met there and kind of hit it off. But they were talking, and Sean had a pair of Google Glass, and he was, I think he was a beta tester or something like that. I don't know why he had a pair, but he was showing her at the time and talking about how awesome they were and the potential that they held for people in low vision. And so she was trying them out. She was like, yeah, these are great. People really need to develop apps, software, things like that, using these for people with low vision. And so Sean thought to himself, he's like, yeah, that would be a great idea. Now, a little bit about Sean. He was part of a team that developed OCR technology for IBM. At the time, that's what he was doing. And anybody doesn't know, OCR stands for optical character recognition. That's where the device will take a picture of text and then process it and read it aloud. Very, very handy for people with low vision. You might be using your KNFB reader app on your smartphone. That's a perfect example of optical character recognition. So he said, you know, he was already a developer. He was already developing this kind of software. And he and his team thought, you know, yeah, we should be able to find some way to use a system like Google Glass and OCR and have that function together for people with low vision. And originally, actually, the idea was for people with no vision at all, total blindness. So they quickly realized that Google Glass was not going to be a good option because it has a poor camera, the processor isn't that great. So they started looking to other manufacturers. They knew they didn't want to go the route of developing their own hardware because that's such a pain and it's expensive, and that's the main reason why eSight costs so much, is because eSight did go that route. They created their own hardware. So they started looking at third-party hardware companies, and they found this group called Vuzix, that were making these little wearable computers with cameras and screens but they were dealing with manufacturing and warehousing. I think Amazon was one of their big users of their technology, where the guys in the warehouses would use that little camera to scan barcodes and quickly look up items. And so, but Sean and his team really liked that hardware to use for their purposes. So that's what they decided on. That's what they finally decided to use, and that is the eSight, or excuse me, the Cyber Eyez hardware came from that. So that's where the background. Jump ahead 2 years later, they finally have their first finished product. It just released in June, and that is what we have now. So let me check. Any questions or anything?
No.
Okay.
Tawny's actually on here.
Okay.
She left the album.
Oh. Welcome to everybody that's new here. We just went over the background where Cyber Eyez came from, and so they just, like I said, they just launched in June. They're still really new. So that is something to consider. You know, do you jump on it now, or do you wait for some of the bugs, some of the things that some of the improvements to come out, and wait a little while and wait for something better? So let's see. Let me grab my notes. I wrote down some things that I want to talk about. If you can, yeah.
Excuse me, where they came from, background, Vuzix goggles.
Got that.
Android device.
Okay, so the platform, the OS of Cyber Eyez is Android. In fact, Ice Cream Sandwich. And that is, so basically Cyber Eyez is just an app that runs on Android. And within the Cyber Eyez app is OCR, which Sean and his team developed, and screen magnification. Well, not screen magnification, but using the camera, magnifying what the camera sees. So that's kind of the draw to these, and that's the hype that Sean is putting out there, is that it does the OCR, it does the magnifying, but because it's an Android system, it can run any app that runs on Android. So your calendar, your email, your Google Maps, barcode scanning, tap-tap-see, they are, I think in the video I left in the part where they talked about, he talked about they're working on a partnership with KNFB Reader to bring KNFB Reader onto the device. So it'll have that. You know, you'll be able to take pictures, you'll be able to take video. Anything you can do with an Android device, you can do with this. So that means that it can connect via Bluetooth to other devices like iOS, like Apple products, like other Android phones, computers if it has Bluetooth, if it's Bluetooth capable. It can also connect to Wi-Fi so that you can use it to answer phone calls. I mean, it's like a headset. It's like a Bluetooth headset, so you can answer calls, you can make phone calls, you can do everything with this little guy. Now, that gets into one of... Sorry about that, my text message. Check that. So that gets into one of my concerns with this device is, you know, I use Android. I'm an Android guy. I know how Android works. If you're not familiar with Android, it can be kind of confusing. It's not as user-friendly as iOS and Apple. So there's different ways to use input on this device, and we'll talk about that next. Is that anything important?
No, it was hilarious. There's Bluetooth and Wi-Fi is the next thing.
Yeah. So you have you can control it by speech. You can tell it to take a picture. You can tell it to zoom in. You can tell it to open Cyber Eyez or open camera. Basically anything, OK Google, you can do all that stuff. Everything you can do on an Android phone, you'll be able to do on this with your voice. Tell it to call your husband or your wife or your daughter, you know, send a text message, all that stuff, which is pretty awesome. It also has buttons. There's a forward button, a back button, and an OK button on the top. You can use those to navigate the menus and navigate the Android system. It also has gestures. There's a sensor on the side. So if you swipe your hand past the sensor one direction, it goes that direction. If you swipe it the other direction, it goes that direction. If you bring it close to the sensor, I think that registers as the OK button. We didn't get a chance to test those in the demo because they had those disabled on the demo pair that we used. But it does have that. So with those inputs, I could see it getting confusing for someone that doesn't really know Android that well at first. I mean, surely you would learn, but you could find yourself deep in one of the Android systems somewhere and not realize where you are and not know how to get back to where you need to be. Sean did say, though, that a long press of the OK button is like pressing the home button on a Galaxy phone or an iPhone. It gets you back to the main desktop. So that is good. So if you do get lost somewhere, you can just long press on that and it starts over again. Okay. I think we have a question.
Judy Lehman said, how heavy is it and how easy is the screen to see?
Okay, so that Judy asked how heavy it was and how easy it is to see the screen. It's not heavy at all. It's very, very light. It's very much like wearing one of those older Bluetooth headsets that just sits on your ear. These actually rest on glasses. You can, when you purchase the system, it comes with a couple different frames that you can use. Some modest frames, some more sporty type frames. They also are partnered with a certain frame glass making company, I don't remember who it was, but so you can get custom made frames that this will fit onto. They also have a pair of glasses that will fit over, a pair of frames that will fit over your current glasses. So it actually is really light. You don't really feel it that much at all. Now the screen is, and it might be hard to see in the video. I tried to take some pictures. It is a very small screen. I would say it's about half the size of a stamp, a postage stamp. If you were to cut one in half long ways, it would be about that size. So, and it's sitting in front of your eye. The arm is adjustable It bends. It's flexible. You can put it right where you need it to. So someone with blind spots like me, I could move it around until I got it in that sweet spot. The screen is also kind of enclosed. If you were to cup your hand and set a screen down in here, it's very similar to that. So it is very, very bright. If I were outside, the protection around the screen does block the sunlight, so it doesn't wash out the screen. You would still be able to. It's very bright. You would still be able to see it very well. The problem for me is it was just too small. I could not see it at all. I could see this. I could see something bright there, but I couldn't tell what was on it. I could tell that when I zoomed in. I think Sean says it's a 16 times zoom. When I zoomed it in all the way, I could tell there was something on the screen, but I couldn't read it. I was pointed at a sign on the wall and just some extra large text on a piece of paper, and I was zoomed in all the way, and I still couldn't read it at all. Now, I wasn't able to adjust it as well as I would a pair that I purchased myself because it was the demo pair. Sean doesn't mess with it too much because eventually it would get worn out and the arm would probably break. So we weren't allowed to move it where we needed it. So I might have been able to see it a little better, but I really don't think it would have made that much of a difference because I got it in a good spot for me and I still wasn't able to see it. Now, I should mention, those that don't know, my vision is Stargardt's. I have no central vision. I only have peripheral, and the peripheral is not that great. I am between 24 and 2600 is my vision. So well into the legal blindness, and that's the results I got. Now there was someone there. Teresa was also there. The inspiration for the whole system. She was there. She couldn't see it at all. She couldn't even see the bright screen. And she is much worse than me. I think she's 2800. We had another member of our group there who was right around 2200. And she can see the best out of all of us, and she still couldn't see the screen either. But I will say that the Cyber Eyez system was originally designed for total blindness, and the magnification was kind of an afterthought. They were doing testing, and someone said, "This is great. Would you be able to put in, a screen magnification?" And they're like, "Yeah, I guess we could." And so it went from there. So it wasn't even originally designed for low vision. It was designed for total blindness. Because I haven't mentioned, if you haven't watched the previous video, that it uses TalkBack on Android, which is Android's version of Apple's VoiceOver. So everything that's happening on the little Android computer is being spoken to you. So you get audible feedback of everything. So it would be really probably handy for someone that couldn't see at all, because it's getting spoken back to you, and the other bit of it is the OCR. We'll go into that next.
There's a question though.
Okay, actually, one question.
My Indie LLC said, in what situations do you think this would work best?
We got a question. What situations do I think this would work best? It is really tough to say. Sean talked about different situations. They have tested it in subways. He's from Washington, D.C., and they take the subway a lot there. And he's talked about how the train is coming down the tunnel, and they have markers on the front of the train of what train it is, but they don't announce it. Apparently, he says they don't announce where the trains are going until you get in and the door's shut. Which at that point is too late for someone that can't see the little marker. So he said that they will point the device at the oncoming train, tell it to take a picture, because that's how the OCR works. You snap a picture, it does the processing, and then reads it aloud. It's very much like KNFB reader, or one of those types of devices. So he claims that you would look at the train, take a picture, and it would read the sign on the front of the train for the destination, all before the train got there. Now, in our testing in the demonstration, it didn't work that well. It's fast. It's not as fast as KNFB Reader, the processing. It's pretty fast. But I would think that train coming in as fast as they do, you have to try and line this camera up to get the shot, and then it takes 2-3 seconds for it to process. I just don't see it happening. But he claims it does. He claims that he was also sitting in his car once on the way to an event, and he was wearing the Cyber Eyez, and a bus pulled up behind him. He looked in the rearview mirror at the front of the bus, snapped a picture, and it read the sign on the front of the bus to him. So through the mirror and reversed, it still read it. So, if those claims are true, that's pretty awesome. The problem we had in testing it out is that we couldn't get the camera to take a good picture of what we wanted to. Now, bear in mind that it was the first time we had it on. We didn't have any training, which you get when you first get your system. You get 2 hours of training, and then there are monthly call-in training sessions. I think a 2-hour call-in training session. I believe it was the first or second Tuesday of every month. So you do get some training. And Sean himself said that they tracked their training and their testing and all that, and it showed that the first week, people tried it out. Second week they were using it more. Third week they were using it all the time. And so it definitely would take some getting used to. But in our demo, we had a lot of trouble. And I tried to show it in the video that we couldn't get good pictures. We were either too zoomed in too far to get the full image of the text that you wanted read. Or in one case, Teresa was trying to read the screen of the computer, and she caught the label of a water bottle that was in the background, and so the thing starts going crazy because it's trying to read both things, and it just didn't work. And every single time it wasn't working, Sean was like, well, let me hold on, let me see those, and he'd take them off and he'd look at it, and okay, well, yeah, it looks like you weren't pointed in the right direction. And one of my concerns is, okay, that's great, but if I'm out and about, there's not going to be someone there that's sighted that can say, well, let me see what you were looking at. No, you didn't get it right. You need to lift your head a little higher. So that could be a problem. Now, once again, keeping in mind that if you had training and if you had them set up and adjusted for you individually, eventually you would get a good idea of exactly where you needed to point your head to get the shot. Which, of course, we just didn't have that chance to get that familiar with it. But so out and about, to answer that question, out and about reading street signs would probably come in handy because it's just a sign. There's no other text around. If you were trying to read a menu in a restaurant, it might be tough. Because you wouldn't be able to isolate a certain section of that menu to take a picture of, and the thing might get confused about exactly what it's supposed to be reading. Now, I will say it does support over 100 languages. I believe is what I have on the notes. Over 100 languages, including languages that read both left to right and right to left, and it also recognizes over 106 font types, and in fact, Sean even claims that the team had to create a couple extra ones like LED font, so it would recognize train signs and bus signs and things that are LEDs.
Okay, let's do questions.
All right, I've got some questions. We'll get into that. Sorry.
Okay. Someone asked, what is the cost of the unit?
The cost is $1997, I believe, just under $2,000.
American.
So that is the cost. We'll talk about some extra benefits here in a second.
Does the camera stabilize itself, or do you have to hold it steady?
Does the camera stabilize itself was the question. It's very stable, and I will also mention that it does have image stabilization, which is huge. That was one of my main problems when I demoed eSight, is looking through this camera and the image is bouncing around because my head is naturally moving. This one, I didn't get that at all. It was pretty smooth, pretty steady from what I could tell. Like I said before, I couldn't really see very well, see the image, but it does have image stabilization, and that's pretty awesome.
Alaric wants to know if it talks out loud or if it talks in your ear.
Alaric, my buddy, welcome. Alaric wants to know if it talks out loud or if it talks in your ear. Good question. It does have a little earpiece that comes down and goes into your ear, so it can be discreet. You also, and which is what Sean did in the demo, because it's Bluetooth, you can connect it to a Bluetooth speaker and have it speak through that. In fact, when you're doing your training with your occupational therapist or your assistive technology therapist or technician, they would do that. They would have it go through a speaker so that they could hear what was going on as well. You can also connect it through a wire, a little HDMI, I believe, HDMI out, mini HDMI, to a computer or a monitor so that other people can see what you're seeing. Once again, Sean did that in our little demo as well.
Someone else asked, what have you used it for that has really been useful to you?
Well, someone asked what I've used it for that it's really been useful for me. Well, like I said, I only had that very brief time to demo the device, and a big chunk of that Sean was talking about it, and then there were 3 of us that were low vision in the room, and 4 of us that were low vision, and we all tried it. So I really only got about 5 minutes with it. Literally, that's all I got with it. So I tried to read a sign that was on the wall, just some large print text on a regular piece of printer paper that was hanging on the wall, and I couldn't see that. I didn't get a chance to actually even use the OCR, but I was there while it was trying to be, while others were trying to use it, and like I said, it wasn't working very well. It wasn't impressive at all, actually. I forget exactly, I'm sorry, I forget exactly what Sean called it, point of reference or something like that, that they designed it to where whatever the camera sees, whatever text it sees, it takes a picture of and does the OCR. So if you're zoomed in all the way, it only takes a picture of what you're zoomed in at. Point of reference, I think that might be what it's called. So the example he gave is if you're looking at a phone bill, for example, and you don't want to take a picture of the whole bill and read everything. You only want to know what the total is or what your charges are. So you would zoom into that section and take a picture so that it would only read that section. Now, my thing is, well, if I can't see the screen, how am I going to know that I'm zoomed into that right spot? You know, it's one of those things. It's something you're going to have to work around. Okay, we have more questions.
Will it also connect through Bluetooth to a Braille device like tablet Android devices?
Someone asked if it would connect through Bluetooth to a Braille device like tablet Braille devices, I believe it was. It should. From what I understand, of course we didn't get a chance to demo any of that, and it wasn't mentioned, but anything that you can connect your cell phone to via Bluetooth, it will connect to as well, because it's basically the exact same operating system that's on a cell phone, on an Android phone, is in this little guy. It's a much older version. It's Ice Cream Sandwich, and we are all the way on to Nougat now, which is several versions later. But it should work. And then, like I said, any apps that you can run on your Android phone, you would be able to run on this. Now, bearing in mind you don't have that screen display input method that you would on a phone. You have to do it all with the buttons or with the gestures or with your voice on this guy.
Okay. Can you use it without taking pictures, kind of like binoculars?
Can you use it without taking pictures, kind of like binoculars? Absolutely, because you don't need to use the OCR. The OCR only comes in for taking, when you say capture or take a picture, I forget exactly what the command is. But when it's not, it's just a camera shooting video to that little screen. So you could, if you can see the screen no problem, then you could absolutely just use it for magnification, like a monocular or a portable CCTV on your eyeball. I mean, it would work just exactly like that.
That's it for the questions, but you had something on here about memory card slot.
Okay. Yeah, memory card, it has a memory card slot, so it has expandable storage. Sean said whatever the size of the memory card, so 32 gigabytes, 64 gigabyte, 100 and whatever would probably work fine. And then so you can put music on there. You could theoretically put videos on there, movies, and watch them on that tiny little screen, although I don't know, that would be kind of hard. The size of the screen, he said that it was equivalent to and this is in the video, and I hope I don't get it wrong, I think he said a 27-inch monitor a foot in front of your face, I believe is what he said, which I was actually speaking with someone last night, and we were talking about this other device, and they used something similar to describe it. They said it was a 64-inch TV 6 feet in front of you is the equivalent of this screen in front of your eyes. And they shouldn't really market it that way. It's not very accurate. And I'm going to steal what the guy said that I was talking to. I'm going to steal his information, but because I think that is representative of someone that can actually see. So someone that can see fine, yes, that's probably what it looks like. But I was even telling Teresa and the other people that we were there with that afterwards that's great, 27-inch monitor, but right now on my computer I use a 32-inch monitor and I'm still 6 inches away from it, zoomed in with screen magnification. So, a 27-inch monitor a foot in front of me, I'm not going to be able to see that. So it's great that it can do that, but it's not good enough for me.
Another question, since it was based on Ice Cream Sandwich OS, is it limited to only what Android could do way back then?
Okay, someone asked, since it was based on Ice Cream Sandwich OS, is it limited to what Android could do back then? And the answer is yes. Yes, it is. So if you know anything about Android, they've come a long way since then. But this is a perfect segue into talking about updating this system. Sean talked about, and I think I left it in the video, that the current iteration, the current version of this Cyber Eyez is running on this hardware is called the M100, the M100s. And Vuzix, if you remember from the very beginning, that's the original manufacturer of the hardware. They are releasing in this fall the M300s. So it's an updated version of the hardware. It's supposed to have a better camera, a better processor. It's going to have a newer version of Android. The buttons are going to be in a little bit different location, because one drawback to this, which Teresa actually found out, was that the power button is on the bottom of the device. So, which is in an unfortunate location, because if you're holding it and pinching to activate the top buttons, it's right where your thumb is, or right near where your thumb is. So there's a good chance of accidentally hitting that and shutting down the whole system. So I think they moved that, and it's supposed to have a better screen. I don't know if it's any larger. I don't know if that is changing, but Sean did say that they are going to wait about 6 months before they put Cyber Eyez onto the new hardware, the M300s, and then send those out to people. Now, I'm not sure exactly what kind of upgrade fee that will be. I believe there will be some kind of fee, but they're also updating the app. Remember, like I said before, Cyber Eyez is actually just an app on the device. They're updating that app all the time. The whole system just launched in June. In August, Sean was talking about, he was about to, after this demo, he was getting ready to fly up to New York to do the final testing of the new update that was coming out, which was going to include high contrast scheme for the camera, as well as moving the barcode scanner into Cyber Eyez. Because the barcode scanner, he demoed that and it was a mess. It just didn't work at all. But it was a separate app running on the Android. So you had to launch it, try and find your barcode, it would scan it, then you had to get out your phone and search for the information on your phone. And it didn't even really work that well. So he said, yes, we understand this doesn't work very well. So they were adding a barcode scanning feature to the Cyber Eyez app. So it's supposed to work much, much better. It is supposed to, you launch that's part of the app, the barcode scanner, and it senses the barcode and it automatically takes a picture and immediately starts to read out the information of what it is. So I didn't get to demo the new version of that, but it's got to be better than the way it was. And updates will be just pushed out to the Cyber Eyez app. You can go into the settings of the app and there will be an update section, and you just click it. It will go out and search for the update if it hasn't already been pushed to it, and it will install the update automatically, reboot the Cyber Eyez app, not the whole device, but just the app, and then you'll have the newest update. And it's all free. That you don't pay for any updates, anything like that. It's just automatically, just like your iPhone or your Android phone.
Alaric wants to know if you press a button to take a picture, or do you do a gesture or a hand movement, or what?
Yes, Alaric was asking how you take the picture. For those that weren't here at the beginning, they have 3 different ways to control the device. There are buttons on the top. There's a forward button, a back button, and an OK button. You can also, it's also voice activated, so you can tell it, take a picture, zoom in, zoom out. Or it has a sensor on the side that you can use hand gestures, hand motions. Swipe past the sensor to go forward, swipe back to go back, and go towards the sensor with your palm to do an OK function. So there's 3 different ways, because one example he gave is like, or I believe Teresa mentioned that if you're sitting in church or something like that, an event, you don't want to be talking to your headset. So you would put it onto just the buttons or something like that.
Just a comment, Steve McDonald said, thanks for taking the time to answer questions and keep up the great content.
Steve, thank you very much, sir. It's my pleasure to help out any way I can. What's next on my notes, sir?
Okay, Google Cloud API.
Yes, Sean mentioned Google Cloud API, that they just got clearance to start getting into Google Cloud, which is pretty awesome. With Google Cloud, they will be able to add facial recognition to the Cyber Eyez, as well as object recognition and logo recognition. So, very much, if you've seen that the Orcam commercial video that's on YouTube, she points at her friend and it says, "It's Rachel," or something like that. In theory, you'll be able to do that as well. You'll be able to take a picture of someone and it will tell you who it is, if it's in the database. Or you'll be able to take a picture of a soda can and it will tell you that's a Coke because it recognizes the logo. There was also mention, now this hasn't happened yet, so I didn't get to demo any of that. There was also mention of edge detection. So if you were walking and you were coming up to stairs, it would detect the edge of the stairway and let you know that, it's coming up soon. Or it would detect the edge of a wall. Once again, I didn't get to demo any of that. We didn't even get to see that in action. I don't know if that's how that works. But the Cloud API, or the Google Cloud feature, it sounds really good, but in my experience, you're going to need to be connected to the internet for that to work, which means you're going to need to be connected to Wi-Fi, which is in your house or at a Wi-Fi hotspot like a Starbucks or something like McDonald's, something like that, or maybe at work, or tethered to your phone, using your phone being a Wi-Fi hotspot, which is also how you would answer phone calls. You would answer or check your email and all that. You would pair it to your phone via Bluetooth. So part of my opinion on this, and we'll get into my opinion on the device and my thoughts about it. My opinion is, okay, and this is just for me. Everybody will need to, if you can, try it out and see how it works for you. But for me, I couldn't see the screen. So that took out the whole magnification, using it as a CCTV. It took that out of the equation altogether. So I'm just going on now as an OCR device and all the other features it can do. Yeah, it can do all those great things, but so can my phone. And I already have my phone. And to do a lot of those features, answer calls, check email, check my calendar, do all those things, I have to be connected to my phone anyway. So I've already got my phone. I just use my phone. My phone can do TalkBack. I have an Android phone, so it can do everything that this thing can do as well. I have KNFB Reader, so I can do OCR and all that too. So for me, it's not going to work. I'm not going to get it. And that's unfortunate. Once again, the exact same thing as eSight. It's a bummer that it's not working for me, but I definitely encourage everybody to try it out. I would also maybe encourage you to wait for the M300s, because it just overall sounds like it's going to be a better device. And that's part of the thing about this Cyber Eyez, is that it's brand new. It just launched in June. So usually everything that's brand new, it just gets better the longer it's out. So you might want to wait, I don't know, but price is hard to beat.
I was just going to say on that same line, she said, Judy asked, will you be trying it out again after the update? And then someone else asked, is there a way you can try it out before you purchase it? So those kind of go together.
Okay. Judy asked, will I be trying it out after the new version and the new update and all that? I would like to. The plan was actually for part of the reason why Sean came to our location is because not only Teresa is my boss, not only they were really good friends and she was the inspiration for the whole thing, but he wants organizations like ours, Bluegrass Council of the Blind, to be locations where people would come to get training. So, that was also kind of the reason why I was there, was to pitch that idea to us. So hopefully, if that happens, I will be able to use them in the future and give more feedback and get more time with them. A lot of these concerns I have, I think, would be fixed with more time, would be resolved if I had had more time to play with it. I probably would have gotten a better OCR reading. I probably would have gotten more familiar with exactly where I needed to point my head and all that to get good results. So yes, hopefully we'll have a chance to do that in the future.
And then is there a way people can try it out before they purchase it?
Is there a way that people can try it out before they purchase it? I am not sure how that works. I know Sean he's going all over the place doing demonstrations. I was just Googling him and Cyber Eyez, and Cyber Times is the company. I should mention that. Times with a Z, and Cyber Eyez with a Z also. Cyber Times is the company that develops Cyber Eyez. So if you Google Cyber Times, you'll find their website. And I'm sure there's ways on the website, links or whatever, that you can get in touch with them to arrange, find out where they're going to be to do a demo. It might be like eSight and New Eyez and all these, where you have to schedule a time to try them out. Let's see.
And Tawny said Alabama won, and keep up the good work. You're doing good.
All right, my sister who lives in Alabama said Alabama won. I'm happy. It was a nail biter right there at the end. They were not looking good through most of that game, and then they pulled it back, and I had to shut it off to do this. So I was wondering what happened, but thank you very much. Louisville stomped Florida. We won't even go into all that, but that was a good game. Anyway.
You have hit all your points that were on here.
Okay.
And you're at over 45 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to probably wrap it up here. We're almost, we're getting close to an hour, but I do want to talk about pricing and availability and all that. As I said before, the price is just under $2,000. So right there, much better than the 15 grand that some other companies are wanting. They also offer, because this hardware is from Vuzix, they offer, it's either a 30-day or a 60-day money-back guarantee, which is huge. If you get it and you go through the training and you legitimately give it a good shot, it's going to take some using it to get familiar with it before you really reap the rewards and start getting the benefits of it. So if you give it some time, and you still find out, no, this just isn't working, or I'm not going to use it, you're honest with yourself that it's just not going to work, you can send it back and get your money back within that 30 or 60 days, I believe. So that's huge. Then to top off, on top of that, if they do partner with KNFB Reader, and KNFB Reader comes already installed on the device, you're saving $100 right there. To get that application. Then also, if Sean mentioned that, as I said, he was there to try and promote it to us to be a training facility where people would come and they would order it through us as well. If you do that through certain locations, you can also get extra incentives like 10% off if you get it at this location. So you're saving even more money there. So taking all of that into account, I would say you almost don't lose anything to get it and try it out. You want to make sure that there is a return policy. I mean, Sean did say it was and all that.
Get it in writing.
Get it in writing and all. Yeah, exactly. Get it in writing and make sure. But if there is, you really don't have anything to lose. So it's definitely worth trying out. And I will, of course, if I learn more information about it, I'll be updating it on my channel. And if I get a hold of another copy, I definitely will be trying it out and doing another video about it.
Alaric has another question. Do you know if it will be going toward real-time recognition?
Alaric asked if it will be going towards real-time recognition. It should. The camera and the screen had 0 lag, which was pretty impressive. My webcam right now, I can see myself kind of in the peripheral, and if I go like this, it still hasn't done it. I think it did it.
No, it still hasn't yet.
It still hasn't done it yet.
Ready?
There it is. It just did it. That's how long. So that is definitely a lag. You need a definition of lag. That is it. So it did have that. So that's pretty impressive. So it does have, in that regards, real-time recognition. Now with the OCR, I'm not sure. It just depends on how well they can improve it. If I just lost it. The OCR or the facial recognition, things like that, maybe in the future. I will say that it's very difficult. I have this application that I keep meaning to do a video about. I think it's called Blind Tool, and which is funny, but that's also my nickname for Alaric. I'm just kidding. But it does real-time recognition. You pointed at a picture and it tells you what it is, but it's the results are horrible. It's so funny to listen to this. I'll point it at my daughter and it'll say German Shepherd, or it does a lot of dogs for some reason because it sees the hair and it just automatically thinks, oh, that's a dog. I'm like, no, that's not a dog. It's really, really funny. So I'll do a video review about that sometime. So real-time recognition isn't very easy. It would definitely be a challenge for them to do that. But you know, who's to say in the future they don't? I don't know.
Tawny must have been watching the game earlier because she asked if you get any software updates for the future when you buy it.
Got another question about software updates in the future if you buy it. Yes, like I said before, you do get. It's just like the Cyber Eyez is just an app that runs on it, so you just get regular updates like you do on your phone, the apps on your phone. As far as updating the Android system itself without doing a hardware change, I'm not sure. In theory, that would also just be like your phone. You get a little notification saying that Android has an update. It downloads and then installs, and you know it's up to date. In theory, that's the way it should work. I can't say if it does or not about that. So I think that is, if we could switch over real quick to the blind spot, just open another tab.
Oh, in Facebook?
Yeah. We'll check the Facebook page to see if anybody had any questions there. Oh, you need to type, don't you?
Oh, we'll see. We'll see how much you can do with just clicking. Also, what is it? My Indie LLC, I think is her name.
Yeah.
Just said thanks a lot, and her clients always really appreciate your objective reviews.
I just got a thank you from someone. It's my pleasure, guys. I'm happy to do this. This live stream, I've never done this before. I think it's going pretty well. I will definitely probably do this again in the future. And as I said before, I'll get a better camera and all that. My first time, so I'm using just a webcam on my laptop. But yeah, I like this interaction with people and talking to you guys. So I think I definitely will do this again in the future. If you guys want me to, just let me know. We're checking Facebook to see if anybody had any questions on there.
I don't see anything.
Okay. And trying to think of any other topics that I didn't mention. There's a lot of buzz about this headset. A lot of news organizations, newspapers are talking about it. So hopefully, we'll see what happens in the future with this. Hopefully it'll just keep getting better and better and better.
Yeah, I don't see any other questions on here.
Okay. Well, it doesn't look like we have any questions on Facebook. Thank you very much, guys, for checking out, tuning into the stream. Any more questions on here?
Nope.
Okay, it looks like that's probably it. Thank you very much, guys. Once again, let me know in the comments or sending me an email, theblindspot.sam@gmail.com, if there's anything I can help out with. I apologize. I'm really bad about answering emails sometimes, so it might take me a couple days, but I will get back to you. I'm also really bad about going on Facebook Messenger or answering questions on Facebook, so I apologize for that as well. Rachel's much better at the social media stuff than I am. Okay, well, I think that is it. Thank you very much. One last quick message.
Hello, everyone. This is Skylar.
So just hit stop streaming from the OBS thing.
See you next stream.
Yep. Thanks, guys. We will see you next time.